Hey, so like many of you, I am really angry. I'm really, really angry right now, and I really hate what's going on in our world. But have you ever stopped to ask yourself why? Have you ever reflected on your own views and beliefs and asked yourself why you have them, where they came from? Are they based on your own life experience? Are they based on what you're seeing in the media? Where are you getting your views from? Are they based on what somebody else told you? Really try to consider your views for a minute here. So much of our system, our overall system, our entire country's system is based on oppression. It's built on oppression. It's built on people dying. And it's built on people not having access to the things that they need. Just look at the government's budget, okay? We spend more on our military than we spend on education and science combined. The 2021 government budget has $934 billion towards the military spending, which is actually down from $936 billion for this year. The budget for health and human services is only $96.4 billion. Why is this? Maybe it's easier to control a nation that's less educated. Maybe our overall system is worried that if we are a highly educated people that we'd be harder to control, that our views would be harder to manipulate. So many of us say, I support our troops. I support our military. It's a controversial view to think that military spending is out of control. I don't understand why that's a controversial view, but it is. But are we actually supporting our troop and our military when our troops barely receive a living wage? An E1 in the military, which if you're not super familiar with that, an E1 is like a private. It is the entrance rank when you first enlist. You can enlist at higher ranks, but that's a different story. So an E1 in the military has a basic annual pay of only $20,797. It does increase to $25,269 when we include the subsistence pay that they receive. The base pay is about $10 an hour. That full pay with the subsistence pay added into it, that's $12.50 an hour. We're asking them to risk their lives for $12.50 an hour. Are we supporting our troops? Do we support our troops? As an E5, you still only make $39,000 a year, including the base and subsistence pay. An E9, which is our highest enlisted rank, with over 10 years of service, still only makes $70,000. The highest standard military ranking, the highest officer ranking in the military, is an O9. An O9 makes $189,000. That might sound like a lot to some of us, although maybe we should consider why $190,000 a year sounds like a lot, while also saying that it's okay to have billionaires. If $189,000 is a lot for your entire life's work, perhaps we should consider how much money the billions of dollars at the people at the top have. So we aren't paying our troops well, but we say that we support them. We say we support our troops, but the VA only has $93 billion of our entire annual budget allocated to the VA. But we support our troops. Perhaps we're not supporting our troops. Perhaps we're supporting the industrial military complex instead. Maybe think about that. What does that mean if we're supporting the industrial military complex? Maybe, again, the government or people up top have some sort of thoughts here as to why we need such an extreme military. And it's not proportional to our population. Don't even think that. It's not even close to proportional to the population that we have in this country. We say that we support our Constitution, but we ignore flagrant violations of it. We have people who are outraged by perceived violations of threats to the Second Amendment right, which they say that the right to bear arms, that we have the right to bear arms so that we can rise against a tyrannical government. Yet, when the NSA was caught spying on our citizens, these same people responded with, if you have nothing to hide, it shouldn't be a problem. But we support the right to bear arms to rise against a tyrannical government. When we support the First Amendment right, which guarantees the freedom of speech, religion, and the press, which includes the right to protest peacefully, the right to assemble peacefully. But we're okay with the President of the United States threatening military action against our protesters. But they're rioting. Protect the people. Well, let's take a look at those riots, okay? The vast majority of people that have been killed or injured in the riots are the protesters themselves. They're risking their own lives, not yours. The vast majority of these protests are peaceful, but that is not the message that's being spread. We are taking away the message by focusing on the riots, the riot portion. You can be against the riots, you can be, but is the destruction of property really punishable by death? When is the last time that the destruction of property had a death sentence? When did that become a... See, I'm actually really upset. But when did the destruction of property become a capital offense? When? You can disagree with the riots. You can want the riots to run. I can't even talk. You can disagree with the riots. You can want the riots to end. That's fine. You can want that. You can want the riots to end. You can still agree with the right to protest. You can still allow the protesters to assemble. You can do both. You can be upset about the riots and okay with our constitutional right to assemble. Why are we protesting? Why are people protesting? Have you thought of... You've heard the name George Floyd a lot. In the past year or so, you've also heard Breonna Taylor's name. You have also heard Botham Jean. You've also heard... Oh my goodness. You've also heard Ahmaud Arbery. You've heard so many names. People are protesting to end police violence and the systemic racism. If you're against the protesting, moving past the riots, if you're against the protesting, but saying that you're for the Constitution, and claim that the riots are a violation of the Constitution or a violation of law, maybe consider these words. I mean, I feel like these are pretty well known words. Liberty and justice for all. If all truly had liberty, then our Muslim women wouldn't be harassed for wearing religious garb. We wouldn't have issues where Muslim women are attacked for their religion, attacked for the clothing they wear. It doesn't matter if you say that you don't mind the burqas, you just don't like it when they cover everything but their eyes. That doesn't matter. They still have the freedom of religion. They still have liberty. If all truly had liberty, our Muslim men would be able to go out to dinner without being called terrorists. Something that actually very recently happened in my town. And I'm still upset about that. I'm not going to say where it happened, but it was recent. If all truly had liberty, our LGBT plus community wouldn't face harassment just for existing. If all truly had liberty, then our Black community would not have to be scared of being killed just for living. If all truly had liberty, our disabled community wouldn't face constant barriers to every single aspect of life. let's take a look at justice. If all had justice, nobody would have to fear the police. If all had justice, there would be nobody saying to shoot the protesters. Is it justice to kill people over property crime? Is that punishment fitting the crime? Is it justice to kill somebody for a counterfeit bill that they may not have even known was counterfeit? George Floyd. Is it justice to go into somebody's home and shoot them using the excuse that you thought it was your own home? Is it justice to kill somebody for using their cell phone in their grandparents' backyard because you thought it was a gun? Is it justice to shoot somebody for selling CDs? This might get long. Let's keep going. You can decide if this is justice or not. Terrence Pritchard in 2016 was killed with his hands up standing near his vehicle. The officer who killed him called him a bad dude before shooting him. Philando Castile in 2016 was pulled over for a broken taillight and killed for saying that he had illegally permitted handgun in the vehicle. But remember that Second Amendment, right? Walter Scott in 2015 was shot in the back 5 times. He was unarmed. A cop put a taser near his body and claimed that Scott attempted to tase him. This cop actually did get prison time. Eric Harris in 2015 was shot by a cop who said he confused his handgun for his taser. Harris begged for breath as he died. No medical attention was given to him, and "fuck your breath" were words that a deputy on the scene said as he was dying. Fuck your breath. This cop was found guilty. He was sentenced to 4 years. He served less than 1. Am I pissing you off yet? I really hope so. I really do hope so. Tony Robinson in 2015 was shot 7 times. He was 19 years old and unarmed. Romaine Brisbane in 2014 was killed by a cop after reaching for a pill bottle. Tamir Rice in 2014, he was 12. He was killed for playing with a BB gun. There was no warning given to him. Nobody asked him to put down the BB gun. He was a 12-year-old little kid. I have friends who have children and grandchildren who are 12 years old. Think about that. Think about a 12-year-old child being killed. Laquan McDonald in 2014 was shot 16 times. He was only 17. The cops kept shooting his body even after he had fallen. They kept shooting him. He was on the ground. He was bleeding out. He was probably already dead, but they kept shooting. Michael Brown in 2014 was shot 6 times in police custody. He was already in police custody and he was shot 6 times. Eric Garner in 2014 was choked to death while pleading for his life after selling cigarettes. I'm going to speed up here just a little bit. These names go on and on. Natasha, Tony McDade, Yasin Mohammed, Fenan Bari. I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing names incorrectly. I really am. I'm sorry. Sean Reed, Stephen DeMarco Taylor, Ariane McCree. If I listed every single person, this would be over 12 hours long. I don't know if I would ever be able to end it. And I would never be able to list every single person because so many have gone unrecognized. So many have been ignored and just completely unrecognized, swept under the rug. So I think you get the point. Ask yourself if this is justice. Is this justice for all? Do you understand yet? Do you see why people are protesting? Do you see the pain, the anger, the frustration of countless voices that have been ignored and killed? Recently, I've been seeing people attacking the notion of no justice, no peace, acting like it is the riot inciting, saying that no justice, no peace is a call to violence. Do you have any idea where those words came from? Do you have any idea what they even mean? They were actually spoken during a protest of people being arrested for protesting the Vietnam War. If you think that no justice, no peace incites violence or is a sort of threat, maybe you should reflect on why you think that's a threat. Why you think that no justice, no peace is a threat of violence. But where do those words come from? And why is it a rallying cry? Martin Luther King Jr. spoke the words, "There can be no justice without peace. There can be no peace without justice. And justice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We cannot have the Black people of our country being killed and their murderers going free and say we have justice. We cannot have the Black people of our country being killed and their murderers going free and say we have peace. Killing people is not peace. Killing people is not justice. If you're against the protest, really think about why. If you're scared of the riots, consider the fear that every single minority that lives in this country faces every single day of their lives. We've seen protests for a week, and people are terrified, and people think that their lives are in danger. Remember the fact that most of the people who've actually been hurt or killed are the protesters themselves. But you've been scared for a few days. These people have been scared for their entire lives. People also seem to be threatened by people saying Black Lives Matter and insist that all lives matter. They say all lives should matter. You're so close to the point. You're so close. You're so close to getting it, but yet you miss it completely. All lives should matter, yet Black lives seemingly don't matter in our country. All lives cannot matter. You cannot say that all lives matter until Black lives matter. All lives don't matter until Black lives matter. You know, fellow white people, I'm really begging you here to address your biases, reflect on your beliefs, and help fix our country so that all lives can matter. If you want all lives to matter, help. Help Black lives matter so that all lives can matter. Help lives that don't look like you matter so that all lives can matter. Help lives that don't have the same abilities as you matter so that all lives can matter. You cannot say that all lives matter while you don't give a shit about people that don't look like you. I recently read something from a reverend who said to consider sheep. I know we have some weird thing right now about sheep being a political thing, but I'm actually talking about the animal. We're actually talking about the animal. If you have 99 sheep and one wanders off and becomes in danger, he's threatened, he could be killed, you go save that sheep. That doesn't mean that the other 98 sheep don't matter. It means they aren't in danger. They are safe. Right now, our Black people are not safe. If you question that, if you're not sure that our Black people aren't safe, I challenge you to go to any news site on Facebook, any news pages. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter what site it is. Go to any of them and read the comments. Read comments that people are saying on these articles. I had somebody threaten to hang me just for agreeing with the protesting. I actually had violence threatened against me just for agreeing. Think about what these people are facing. The comments are really disgusting. You really should go and look at some of them. If you question whether Black people are safe in our country, look up every single Black life that has been lost for no reason. If you say that maybe they were committing a crime, or maybe they had committed a crime, ask yourself if that crime was punishable by death. And even if they were committing a crime, and even if in your views you do think that crime carries a capital sentence, since when are the police the ones to carry that sentence out? Since when are the police the ones who are able to sentence people to death? Since when do we no longer have the right to a fair trial, a jury of our peers? Since when? When did that happen? Can somebody link me to the rewriting of our Constitution? Since people seem to be quoting a Constitution that doesn't exist in the United States. Maybe we have a new Constitution that I'm unaware of. We really need to come together and protect our people. We need to come together with love and understanding, but most of all, we just need to come together. I will never be able to truly understand the fear, the pain, and the suffering felt by the Black people of the United States of America because I have not had to wear that skin. I don't wear black skin. I think I phrased that weird, but I think you understand what I mean. I am not a Black person, obviously. So I have never had to feel the fear that they feel. So I can never truly understand the fear. I can never truly understand the pain of a mother having to be afraid that any encounter her kid has with the police might end with death. Even if it was her child that called the police for help. Because that happens a lot. Our Black people will call for help and be killed by the people who are supposed to be helping. So I can never truly understand that fear or that pain because I don't have to feel it. I feel a lot of pain and fear and anger right now, but I don't have to feel what you feel. I can't feel what you feel because my life is not being systemically threatened. My life is not being threatened, not even only by the government and by the police, but by so many other Americans who don't care or who actively are okay with it, actively support it. That doesn't happen to me because I don't wear that skin color. But I do see you. I hear you. I understand why you're angry and hurt and scared. And most of all, I do love you. I love you all. And I will, do my part. I will help. I will not sit down and be okay with it. I will not accept things the way they are. Things do need to change. And until we start getting justice, until we as a country start seeing justice for everybody, there cannot be peace in our country.